Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It is Friday, April 10th, and the headlines today are mostly about shootings and beatings by the police and also the Hillary Clinton announcement for president that will occur this Sunday, the 12th. And I've already done some work on her husband. I have a video post on Bill Clinton and his connections to New York, where Hillary was once senator. We'll touch on that a little bit, but I want to focus more on Hillary Clinton herself. If this is your first time watching one of my video posts, I recommend you watch the introductory video on my main page first, or even go back to my very first post. You could just search for it. You could type in my full name inside episode-001, and it should come right up. In that episode, I talk about the numbers 26, 33, 47, 74, the presidents, and a whole lot more. And let's look at Hillary's birthday. She's born in the year 47, 1947. This year also has a numerology of 19 plus 47, which equals 66, another number of importance. New York is the 11th state where she was senator. If you add 1 through 11, it sums to 66. She's born in October, the only month with 33 gematria. No other month has 33 gematria. October sums to 33 with Pythagorean gematria. And she's born on the 26th day, the God number. So very significant numbers here for Hillary Clinton. She was also born in Chicago, Illinois. And if you took the time to read my written blog from the beginning, I make several notations about how often Chicago, Illinois comes up in this research. The cast of characters who I'm often uncovering come from Chicago. And her husband, Bill Clinton, his father, Bill Blythe, his biological name is Blythe, died while traveling on a business trip back from Chicago to Arkansas. We'll get more into that. So her birthday, 47, 33 for October, 26. The numbers that I talk about from the very beginning, the only one that's missing here is 74. The name Hillary Clinton with Pythagorean gematria sums to 73. Another important number right next to 74. Her life numbers are 30 and 83 if you take the time to sum them. So, if you look at her life, you can tell it was a life of privilege as well. Attended a fancy high school on April 15th, 1962. This is really interesting, Truth Seeker, because what do we know April 15th for? This is the date Lincoln died and the day the Titanic fully submerged. On this day in history, she went to church with a youth group in Chicago to hear Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. speak. Her minister, Don Jones, this is a curious name. Don's a 33 name. Of course, there's many Dons in the world. I even have an Uncle Don, so we won't use that as the hardest piece of evidence, but it's just more possible suspicions. There's some people in this world who might use the name Don for other reasons than the average Don. And think about that name in the Mafia. In Jewish gematria, the word Mafia equals 47. In English, the word obey equals 47. So does authority. But anyway, the Don is the boss in the Mafia. But yeah, if you just take the time to look at her life, you can tell she lived a life of privilege. Nice school, rare occasions. I mean, how many people get to go with their youth group to meet Martin Luther King, you know? And if you look through the rest of it, presidential campaigns, senatorial campaigns, a privileged life, no doubt. So let's briefly talk about her husband, who was the 42nd president. If Hillary were to win, she would become the 45th president. And do you know what would be interesting about that? 42 plus 45 equals 87. The name Clinton with simple English gematria is like this. It's just where you use the alphabetic order. It sums to 87. 87, of course, has a numerology of 8 plus 7 equals 15, and then 1 plus 5 equals 6. With the smaller way, it equals 33. Of course, 3 plus 3 equals 6. But check this out. Hillary Clinton is going to start her presidential bid April 12th, 2015. This is a date with numerology of 31, like the foundational degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Those degrees are 31, 32, 33. This following Tuesday will be April 14th, 2015. It'll be a date with 33 numerology. We'll see if any interesting headlines occur on that day or in this span of days, 31, 32, 33. We'll see what happens with Hilllary mania in these span of days. Clinton is a 33 word in gematria. When I first learned about Pythagorean gematria in general, the first thing I did was I applied it to the 50 states. The next thing I did was I applied it to the presidents. And when I learned about Bill Clinton, this was the night I became convinced this was most definitely real, well beyond coincidence. And at this time I shared it with, this is when my sister also first started to think I was crazy when I told her this story about Bill Clinton and his father. But let me share it with you, Truth Seeker, and you tell me if this seems crazy. So the name Clinton in Pythagorean gematria equals 33. This is not Bill Clinton's biological last name. He was born William Jefferson Blythe Jr. to his father. Or William Jefferson Blythe III, excuse me, his father was Jr. His father was a successful businessman in Arkansas. He was supposedly traveling between Chicago and Arkansas when he was found dead in the side of the road in 3 feet of water. And the police pronounced it an accident. There was no investigation. Somehow he just drowned in 3 feet of water on a business trip. I mean, to me that sounds super suspicious. But the name Clinton has a 33 gematria, as I said, and the date that William Jefferson Blythe Jr. died on also has a 33 numerology, May 17th, 1946. In hindsight, this number is also very curious because now I realize the word kill equals 17 with Pythagorean gematria, and we find this number 46 coded so often in curious deaths. I've document a lot of that on this video blog. And it seems to have to do with thelema. Thelema equals 46. So possibly once upon a time, William Jefferson Blythe Jr. was sacrificed to this thelema, and an agenda was chosen for his son for whatever reason. You know, I don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes, so it's hard to connect all the dots. But it's easy to put enough information in front of our eyes that we can see something truly suspicious is going on. So his father dies on this date with 33 numerology in a curious way. The numerology for this date the other way is 68. And what a user just pointed out to me is these are the dimensions of a coffin. That's why they're so often found in these death reporting as well. That's interesting to me. I hadn't heard that before. But if it's true, it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, after hearing about this, I traced the name Clinton back to the original governors of New York. I wanted to know where the name Clinton came from because William Jefferson Clinton, Bill Clinton, the president as we came to know him, took on the name Clinton just before he went off to school, where he was there with George W. Bush at the same time. So it traces back to Clinton. They were the original governors of New York. New York was simple English gematria equals 111. William Jefferson Clinton, with Pythagorean gematria, sums to 111. And again, Clinton traces back to New York. Bill Clinton was the 42nd president. NYC, the abbreviation for New York City, is 42. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, Truth Seeker? Bill Clinton, the Manchurian president, always born to be, born and raised to be, possibly from even before he was born into the world. His father was murdered just before he was born. So with regards to New York, that's where Hillary Clinton was senator, alongside Charles Schumer. Now, Kirsten Gillibrand's there. And do you know what all these people's names have in common? Remember, New York's the 11th state. If you sum 1 through 11, it sums to 66. So here we have Charles with Pythagorean gematria, Schumer's 33. With the S exception, it's 42, like NYC. Clinton, 33. And then Kirsten, a 33 name. Gillibrand, 52 name. So, something very interesting going on. Of course, this is part of the federal government. Federal's a 33 word. Sometimes in my research, I wonder if some of the importance of 33 is the number 11, and New York, again, is the 11th state. Seems that a lot of these numbers get their meaning from being the triplets of other important numbers. 11 times 3 is 33. 13 times 3 is 39. Some of the numbers we talk about a lot. New York has many connections to 39 as well. Think of the 13 original colonies. So that's pretty much the message there with the New York senators. With regards to Hillary Clinton, she was once running against Barack Obama for president. It was down to her and Obama for the Democratic presidential announcement in 2008 nomination. And then she was part of his administration. But that unraveled after the September 11th Benghazi attacks. You know, another September 11th. Like we had 11 years earlier in New York. New York's the 11th state. You see how this ball of yarn is wound together? This numerological conspiracy, this ongoing repetition. Before, you know, what, maybe going back a month in time, we started getting these news stories about Hillary Clinton's email. And it just makes you go, what in the world? How can this be important? A story about her email from back when she worked in New York? Like, why is this coming up in 2015? And, you know, on April 7th, 47, the year she was born in, 47, the word president equals 47. We got this story that the White House was hacked through email by Russia. You know, first we were getting this white email programming. Then we got that email story. It'll be interesting to see if somehow that story ends up getting connected to Hillary Clinton. But it's just so obvious how they plant these seeds in our mind and then go at them for a while and then abandon them and then give us a new storyline to feed us over and over. Like the cop shootings and cop beatings right now. All coded with these same numbers, 33. And just to show how deep this gang of 33 is, this is Lisa Muscatine. This was Clinton's aide, her speechwriter. Her name has a 33 gematria just like Clinton. S exception, it becomes 42. Lisa, a 15 name, or if you do the S exceptions, it becomes 33. This way of spelling Lisa like she does is also 33. It's L is 3, I is 9, S is 10, S is 10, A is 1, 33. So here we have double 33, Lisa Muscatine, Hillary Clinton's speechwriter. The Gang of 33, Truth Seeker. I've done several posts on the Ivy League. That's still a video topic I haven't done, but I've done lots of written posts on the Ivy League schools. They are so decked out with 33. I suspect that the elites, when they go in certain classrooms, learn about this. They learn about this code and how it's their code. She's a Rhodes Scholar. Rhodes Scholarship is the most prestigious scholarship in the world. It's named after the person who essentially ran the diamond trade for a period of time. It's a 33 word. Rhodes, just like the word diamond. She went to Oxford. Oxford's a 37 word with some interesting gematria, a lot of sixes there. And again, Hillary Clinton sums to 33. So this is how it looks in the Gang of 33, Truth Seeker. And now if you're still watching, I saved the best for last for those of you who pay attention and stick with the work. If you haven't seen this video already, it's not just Hillary Clinton who does this. Barack Obama does it. Republicans do it, such as Rick Santorum, and I'm sure a whole lot more. There's a video showing every politician that's been caught on video as a compilation of this. But let's just watch Hillary Clinton. She's not so smooth with it. If you haven't seen this before, she's taking questions from an audience, and then there's somebody in the audience who is essentially a prop, and their job is to have this fake fainting so that Hillary Clinton can be distracted by it and possibly evade the question that's asked, or just to look like a good Samaritan. So here we go. Check it out.
I'm concerned about Social Security whenever I retire. I keep hearing...
Oh, there's somebody pass out? Can we get some water here?
What? Somebody's asking about retirement, and do you know why it's staged for that time? It's staged for people like my mom. There's so many like her. My mom's main issue at this point in her life, because she's in her early 60s and she's just been working, is the thought of retirement and Social Security. She's counting on that so much, and she doesn't want to hear anything bad about Social Security. So look, this person just asked a question about it, And then all of a sudden somebody screams out from the audience, and Hillary Clinton, just on a whim, just turned to answer that. Let's watch it one more time.
I keep hearing...
Did somebody pass out? Can we get some...
I mean, does that even look believable? If you haven't seen this before, please do yourself a favor and look up the compilation video of all the people who do this, because it is just disgusting. Our president has done it a lot.
Water here. Is there a doctor or a paramedic or a nurse?
Hey, Hillary, what happened to the question about Social Security?
Here, just pass that in case that's needed. Yeah, do we have a police officer? Okay, bring in people who, they usually post people
That was probably Lisa Muscatine in the background who just reminded her to say the thing about the police officer.
who are paramedics at events like this. The paramedics are here. Okay, the paramedics have come in. Okay. Well, you know, I think we're all concerned, and we want to make sure that we're taking care of the person in distress there. Are we okay? They've got him? They've got it? Okay. Let me answer your question on Social Security real quick, because you've all been very patient. Look, I think that Social Security has long-term challenges, and we have to fix them. But the Republicans have been beating up on Social Security for 60 years. They never liked it. They've tried to undermine it. They have raided the Social Security Trust Fund whenever they had a chance. George Bush tried to privatize it, which would have meant the end of the guarantee of Social Security. So I don't buy into the Republican talking points about it being in crisis, because I think that feeds in to their desire to basically walk away from Social Security. We got a problem. Let's get together and fix it, you know, calmly and effectively, just like the paramedics coming in to take care of somebody. Let's make sure that, you know, we get it up and going. And we got somebody else pass out? Okay, well, I'm going to end here with Social Security. I will
Senator
fix it.
Hillary
We'll
Clinton
get back to
here in Bridgeton, Missouri.
Yeah, people just passing out
Obviously,
all
we cover
over the
these
place,
things.
Truth Seeker. You know, I think maybe the delay, who knows, in her earpiece, she might have got fed the talking points that needed to be repeated correctly. But it's all just such a big joke. It's all just such a big joke. We have to expose this, Truth Seeker. I'll tell you what, in 2008, I was in a caucus room in Seattle, down at the Seattle Center. That's right by the Space Needle. I used to live down there. And I was in the caucus room for the Democratic nomination. I wanted to support Dennis Kucinich at the time. He was the only Democrat that I could see myself supporting. And he spoke out a lot against the wars and the spying. He was the only person in Congress that I heard saying anything sensible all the time. So anyway, I went to the caucus to see who else would be out for Dennis Kucinich. And what happened is I got in this room that had about 120 people in it. And all that was in there were Barack Obama supporters, which were about 80% of the room. And then the other 19.5% was Hillary Clinton. And then there was one other person there for John Edwards. And there was nobody there for Dennis Kucinich. And, you know, to me, I just thought, wow, this is... I wasn't surprised, because at the time that's the way the media was covering everything. And Dennis Kucinich, the first time he got to go on TV for a debate, the first question they asked him was, is it true that you've seen UFOs? So, you know, you can just see how the whole thing works. Make the sane people look like Looney Tunes and beat the PR machine all day for the Manchurian robots, which at this day and age I realize Dennis Kucinich might even be part of. You know, that's sad to think about, that the best of them are even just part of the plot. But Hillary, Barack, Rand Paul, you know, Jeb Bush, all these people, they're all the same. It doesn't matter who wins out of that group. They're all going to come in there and do the same thing. They're born into this. They're coded by the numbers. It's never ending, Truth Seeker. While we're at it talking about politicians, I just want to bring up the point of Chris Christie. He was someone I used to look at before I understood numerology and gematria, and I used to go, how in the world has this guy made it? I mean, he just doesn't have any of the qualities at all. This guy's just a piece of work. Well, once you learn numerology and gematria, it all comes together. Of course, the name Chris Christie is CC, like 33. The name gematria is just all full of numbers. He's the 55th governor of New Jersey. Christie equals 55. His life number is 33. But look at when he's born. 9/6, September 6th. 96 is the word Freemason. 1962. The year 62 is Mason. So this guy has about the most Masonic birthday a person could ever have. He went to school in Delaware, one of 333 states. Delaware is the first state. But this is just how it works. Chris Christie is the 55th governor of New York because he's just a big stooge, creating the perception the elites want him to have for whatever reason for that state. Seems like there's always something about punking New Jersey and making it look nasty next to New York. And I feel like Chris Christie is just part of this ongoing, joke. It's a big joke. We live in a joke, Truth Seeker. Are you laughing? Can't laugh forever. But I mean, just look at this crap. This is all of them, Truth Seeker. Hillary Clinton, Chris Christie, George W. Bush had a 33 life number, born 7/6, 1946. Just never ends. The numerological conspiracy. And it's going to be this way until the day we stop it. All right, Truth Seeker. Until next